Welcome to this episode of Alive and Thriving. My name is Jessica. I am going to be with you for the next 20 to 30 minutes as we dive into the topic today of manifesting. But we're not going to talk about manifesting in the way that you might be expecting. We are going to talk about manifesting in the context of, are you manifesting what you actually don't want? Because we think about manifesting what we do want into our life. We think about following our manifesting processes. I'll give you some tips at the end to ways that I have manifested things in my life and what I truly believe you need to do to be able to manifest. But what we don't realize is that the things that we don't want in our life can also be manifested in. And this perception may help if you have been sitting in a space where you have been maybe focusing on the things that you don't want in your world for a while and wondering why you're getting more and more of it showing up. So we're going to talk about what manifestation actually is. We are going to discuss the role of emotions in manifesting. We are going to talk about the frequency of manifesting, and we're going to talk about manifesting what you don't want into your world and how that could be happening for you. Let's get into this episode. As we go through, if you notice that you are experiencing a set of beliefs, a set of thoughts that are not serving you in what you are manifesting, if you realize that you have been focusing on something that you don't want in your world and you've been getting more of that, but you have a belief system or a set of thoughts that truly don't believe that you can experience something different, then I want you to go straight after this episode, straight to the link in the show notes. It is called Becoming Limitless. It is a 90-minute immersion where we deep dive into your limiting beliefs and we go through my 4-step mind, body, energetic process to shift that, to release it from the body and then to program in a new belief. Now, you can access this on demand. So once you pay, it's $35. Once you pay, you'll get access straight away in an online learning portal. You will also get, as a part of this, 3 bonuses, one of which is a 30-minute one-on-one call with me. So well worth $35. So as you go through this, if you notice that you have stories that you can't shift, maybe around money, maybe around health, maybe around circumstances, maybe around business growth, maybe around success. Again, what you are manifesting into your world is coming in, whether it is what you want to be manifesting or whether it's actually something that you don't want to be experiencing more of. So that being said, check out Becoming Limitless and let's get into today's episode.
You're listening to Alive and Thriving with Jessica Reed, the podcast that's all about empowering you to achieve optimal wellness and success through self-care, holistic practices, and raw conversations. Jessica and her expert guests are here to share powerful insights and strategies to help you overcome stress and anxiety, take charge of your life, and thrive in life and in business. Grab a cuppa and let's dive in.
Okay, let's start today by chatting about what manifesting actually is. When we talk about manifesting, you might think it is just something really woo. Maybe it's something you have experience with. I would love to know. Come over on Instagram and tell me your manifesting stories. We've had Serena on the podcast. Oh no, she's coming up next week. That's embarrassing. She's going to tell us an amazing manifesting story, which I'm not going to spoil because she is next week. I have manifested so many things into my life. So many things. So many amazing things. I've truly manifested this business that I'm creating. I manifested the house that I live in. This very house, if you can see me on YouTube, that I'm sitting here recording in right now, this was my family home. This was the home that my parents built brand new when I was a child, and I always wanted to move back here. They moved out to a farm. It was a great experience. But when I was a teenager who wanted to be back in town with my friends, all those things, I didn't want to leave this house. I loved it. And it's beautiful. It's got 5 bedrooms, no rumpus area, beautiful big backyard. Like, it is an amazing family home. It's off the street. Like, kids can play out the front. It is just perfect. And throughout my life, throughout the last, oh goodness, how many years, I used to actually have these vivid dreams about living back in this home. I dreamt as if I was already there. And when I was pregnant with Amelia, my second child, we were looking for a bigger house. We had this beautiful little home that I bought when I was 21 years old. It served a purpose for that time and that place. But with 2 kids, it just wasn't, we weren't going to fit. We're going to have to put the nursery in the ceiling. We weren't going to fit, right? So we were looking for something bigger, and we looked at so many places and nothing felt right. Nothing really met all of our criteria. Didn't really help. We both had very different criteria. But one day we were looking at a house around the corner, and I was pretty pregnant by this stage. I'm looking at a house around the corner, and it just wasn't right. And on the way home, I said to my partner, "Can you just drive past this way? I want to show you something." And he was like, "Yeah, sure." Okay, we pulled up out the front of this house, and I was like, "Look, this is what we want. We want something like this. It's got this, it's got that. It'll meet this need, your need, my need," and telling him all about why it was perfect. And his words were, something like that wouldn't come up in our price range. And I was like, okay, whatever, maybe not. And he kept driving. Anyway, that was Sunday. Wednesday, which is 3 days later, I was sitting at my midwife appointment, 9 o'clock in the morning, did a refresh of realestate.com, and right there, not even for auction, but at the very top of our price range, was this house. And I rang him and I was like, "Oh, my house is for sale. We're just going to go buy it." Like, it's done. Like, it's done. And we came to the open home, and there was, oh gosh, I think from memory, there might have been 7 offers made on that first. And we weren't actually the highest offer, but the people who bought it off my mum and dad were the ones who were selling it. And they wanted us to have it, which was just so amazing. So we moved in when I was 8.5 months pregnant, which I don't recommend doing, because you think, oh yeah, everyone will just do it for you. But you know what it's like if you're nesting, there's no way. You can't not unpack your house. But how amazing is that? And what I want you to notice when we talk about manifesting is that from that story, there was some key elements there, and I'm going to share these with you in a bit more depth a bit later. But the key elements were that I fully believed it was ours. I believed it had already happened. I had that emotional connection, which maybe was a little easier because I'd already lived here. I'd already been in here. I knew what it was like to be in the energy of this house. But I had that emotional connection, and I believed that it was already mine. Already mine. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so when we talk about manifesting, is a process of bringing our thoughts and our desires and our intentions into reality through focused energy and through belief. And so we make manifestations happen. Now, I didn't just sit around and just have this house arrive, and someone didn't knock on the door and be like, "Oh, hi, this house is for sale." I didn't manifest it that way. Here's the other tip. I was going to give these tips at the end, but I'm going to give it now because it just feels natural too. The other tip when you're manifesting is that you have to take aligned action. You can't just sit and hope. You have to take aligned action. You have to set your intention. You have to then detach from the outcome, believe it is already yours, but then be prepared to take the action that intuitively feels right. Okay. If I had not asked my partner to drive past this house Would it had even been in my awareness? Who knows? Who knows what would have happened? So when we are manifesting, we are harnessing the power of our mind and our emotions to attract specific outcomes or experiences into our life. It operates on the principle that our thoughts and our emotions emit energy, they emit energetic vibrations, and that these resonate with similar frequencies in the universe. And therefore, we are drawing corresponding experiences and opportunities towards us. Now, when we manifest, we might not manifest that exact way of doing or that exact way of being, that exact thing. But we could also be manifesting the experience, similar feeling. If you are trying to manifest something material into your world or something with your business, I want you to think about how that actually makes you feel. And when you are looking at the things that you are experiencing, and I'll give you another example of this. When I talked about this actually in an episode a few weeks ago, and someone asked me if I'd always wanted to be in this industry. When I was, right from when I was a child, but I remember being in my early 20s and I had this dream, this vision that I would own this health and wellness space, and it was like a collective. And I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I didn't even think I'd be like the one who was massaging or the one who was running things. I just knew it was going to be my business and that the outcomes were going to be based around health and wellness and emotional well-being. And I knew that. I knew this holistic wellness space existed. Now, in my mind, I had planned it at a completely different location. It maybe had, again, massage and facials, and it had fitness classes. Like it was a bit of a different experience. But then when I look at what I've created now, when I declared that is what I wanted to create, and then I just went about on a completely different pathway, and I look at what I've created now, and even though it is not that exact thing, it is actually so aligned with the way that I imagined that would be making me feel, with the impact that I imagined that would be having in that health and wellness space. So by declaring that and setting that intention and detaching from the outcome, I have brought still that experience, but in a different way into my world. And so when you are manifesting, I want you to look at, maybe it is not coming in the exact color, shape, and size that you thought that it was, that you thought that you were expecting that it was going to, that you were looking for, but be open to the way that it does come for you. So by aligning our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions, that is again the key, our actions as well, with our desired outcome, we can intentionally create the reality that we want to experience. And when we embodied entrepreneur program, we at the very beginning look at our personal foundations and we look at who are we and who is our future self and what choices and decisions and behaviors and thoughts and beliefs does she have to create your life vision, and we connect to that life vision. When we step into and act from that space, we are manifesting our life vision. We are bringing things into the world. So our thoughts and our emotions will have a huge impact on our manifesting, because our thoughts and our feelings create energetic vibrations that attract similar experiences in our life. It's called the law of attraction. Attracts. And when The Secret was first released, what was that, like 20 something years ago? I don't know how long ago that was. But I used to go to sleep listening to that movie. Which I could quote the movie word by word. I still can. And they talk about how like attracts alike. And they talk about how your thoughts have frequencies. And they also talk about how it is the same for when you are bringing something into your world that you don't want. So, for example, they say if you get out of bed and you stub your toe in the morning, that is where your dominant thoughts are going to. That is where your emotion is going to. And then you burn your toast, and then you're running late, and then there's traffic lights, and then your boss yells at you. And it flows and it flows because that is where your energetic vibrations are going. That is where your thoughts are going. That is where your emotions are going. And if you don't pick yourself up on that straight away in the morning, then you are going to have all of your focus on that way of thinking, feeling, and being. So notice I said though that you can still interrupt that thought process, that you can interrupt that pattern. You get the opportunity to shift your state. You get the opportunity to change the way you are feeling and what you are focusing on throughout your day. And if you go about your day and you say to everybody, I am having a bad day. First I kicked my toe, then I spilt my coffee, and then I was really late for work. And then this client cancelled on me, and then this and this. If you are focusing on that, then you are actually going to miss the beauty in your day. Yes, you might have some shitty things happening to you. Absolutely. We are human. That is a part of our experience. And I just want to say quickly that manifesting, when we think about our emotional state, I want you to know that you are also very much allowed. This is not some positive vibes only club. No. You are absolutely allowed to feel the full extent of your up and down emotions, of your challenges. You can still manifest what you want into your world and feel human as well. That used to really scare me. If I was feeling sad or down or I was struggling, I would genuinely, from all of this like toxic positivity culture, be like, I don't want to feel this way because I'm not going to manifest what I want. You still have to be human. You still have to process trauma. You still have to process your emotions. When you are storing those emotions, and this is where it becomes toxic in my opinion, when we are told that we have to only focus on the positive, or we are experiencing something that is really hard and someone says, yeah, but focus on the positive. And I know right now I am saying that by focusing on the negative, you're going to bring more of that into your life. I understand why your brain might be going, hang on a minute, there's a disconnect here. I'm going to explain that right now. If you are experiencing a human experience where you have a challenge in your life, a challenge in your business, where something traumatic happens to you, where you have emotions to process and the words go through your head, I can't feel this because I'm trying to manifest $1 million and the perfect clients and this and that. And so I'm not going to let myself feel this shittiness and I'm not going to let myself deal with it. Then what's actually going to happen is you are going to suppress those emotions. Now, the vibrational frequency of what is suppressed in your body that is keeping you probably in a perpetual state of fight or flight, that is conditioning your body for illness, that is conditioning you to be ignoring what it is that you are experiencing. If you are keeping this in your body and providing that toxic environment for your cells that are no longer thriving, but are now weighed down by these heavy emotions, by these slower vibrational emotions, then that is the frequency that is still going to be coming out into the world. Okay? And you can have all the positive thoughts that you want. But when there is that underlying suppression of emotion, know that is there as well. That is there too. If you have beliefs deep down that say, I can't heal from this, I'm never going to be happy, my business is not going to be successful, money is hard to come by, it is not safe for me to be visible, no one else in my family has started a business, what if no one loves me, what if I'm judged, what if you have these beliefs that are then also causing these emotional frequencies in your body, then that too is going to be putting out to the world what you don't want. This is why, again, our dominant thoughts and our emotions will determine what it is that we bring into the world. Okay, so you could be thinking as positive as you want, but if in your body, your gut is turning and twisting into knots and saying, you are a fraud, you are not going to make this money, no one is going to listen to you in your business, why would someone work with you, can you really do this? Can you really heal from that anxiety? Can you really let this go? This isn't possible for me. No one in my family has done it. All those things. If that is living as a knot in your stomach, that is going to override the positive thoughts in the vibrational space, because you're not fully embodying those thoughts. And you'll know that because it's how you feel. Because it is how you feel. So when you are thinking positively and you allow your feelings to follow those thought patterns by clearing those beliefs and taking note of those outdated stories, then this is where, again, you get to be human. You get to have your emotional ups and downs and your emotional challenges, but you process it. You heal from it. And then when you come back into this space of what you are manifesting into your world, you are in this whole fresh elevated frequency that is completely different to the one that is harboring those suppressed emotions. Every single thing in this world has a frequency. Everything has a vibrational frequency in this whole universe. Our thoughts, our emotions, they all vibrate at a certain frequency. So I don't want you to be scared of your emotions. Again, I don't want you to be like, I can't feel sad. I can't experience this grief. I can't grieve this relationship or this person. I can't feel angry. I can't feel these feelings, because that is a part of your human experience. But again, I don't want you to suppress them either. That is where I think toxic positivity has really taken hold and really confused people. If you are going to manifest something into your world positively, something positive that you want to manifest, you need to be able to process the emotions rather than suppressing them. Okay. And we can do that with tools like tapping. So tapping is a self-applied technique. You can tap on the way that you are feeling on your own at home. You can jump in our tapping inner circle where we have audios of libraries of audios, libraries of audios on various emotional challenges that you can tap on day to day as you need them, so that you're not suppressing the emotion, but you're actually processing it. You can look at other holistic tools like journaling, movement. There's so many ways to help. There are some other amazing somatic exercise to help you release these emotions stored in your body. Okay. And you can do it by talking to a certain extent. But I truly believe that when we are really wanting to shift emotions, we need to bring in our body and our energetic system, which is why something like tapping, again, is so amazing. So once you have successfully processed your heavier emotion, once you have felt what you needed to feel, because it is safe for you to feel these things. Gosh, that is such a part of my bigger mission for women, children, men, to feel safe in their emotions, because we have been so taught to suppress them. And then you can move into your higher vibrational frequency, your faster vibrational frequency. And we can do that with things like practicing gratitude. We can do that with things like visualization. You can listen to a visualization. I have plenty if you need any resources. With our positive affirmations, with our tapping, with our movement, with our breathing. There is one way I love to connect to that higher frequency, that faster vibrational frequency. And I actually think that this really overrides gratitude, if I dare say. And that is love. And I was talking about this in our mastermind the other day when, after we did our goal setting, the masterminders, I created them a resource in their portal to help them come into the frequency of already having what they want. And so part of that is overriding that logical brain that says, you don't have it yet. How do you know what that feels like? You don't have it. You've never had it. So therefore, how do you create something you've never had? So coming into the frequency of love is going to override all of that. What you might like to do day to day, instead of, we can do a gratitude practice. I still do a gratitude practice, but you might like to flip it to something what I think is even more powerful. And instead of writing I am happy and thankful for, or if you're embodying your human design and writing what you are satisfied about it, let's say if that is your self theme, like it is mine, or what made you feel at peace, if you're a manifester, or what you can write lists like that as well. That I love to write a love list. And we talked about this too, again, in the mastermind when we did our money frequency call. Things feel heavy. Things are hard. But if you can change that frequency to, I love paying this bill. I love that I got to use my phone for a whole month and now I get to pay for it. I love money and money loves me. I love that I get to do school drop off. I love that I get to sit at dance class while my girls are in the car while my girls are dancing. I love that I get to walk the dog every day. And then the heavy things. I love that I get to pay this bill. I love that I get to pay my tax. I love that I get to clean my house. Notice I picked myself up there, not have to, get to. I love cleaning my house. I love having a clean home. I love the smell of, I don't know, clean, fresh toilets. Okay, but you get my point. Sit down and write a list of the things that you don't love so much, but write it that you do. I love doing this. I love paying this. I love being this. And just notice the frequency shift. But again, not doing this in a way to mask what has to be dealt with or what emotional wave has to be ridden through, but doing this in a way that helps you get into that frequency when you're ready to, of already having what you want to be bringing into your world. So then I said at the beginning of this episode, we're going to talk more about manifesting what you don't want. I truly believe in the same way that we set our intention and we put our focus on something that we do want, and we manifest by having this full belief that we already have it, that it is already coming to us, that it is already here, like by believing that and being in that frequency. I don't see it to be any different if you are in the frequency of believing that you are going to get more of what you don't want, that you have never made that money, that you are not going to be successful, that only shitty things just keep happening to you. If you are putting your focus, your energy, your attention, your emotions, and you've got a belief as well, then this is going to mean that you will be attracting in more into your world of what you don't want. And here's the thing, you might also be bringing in opportunities of what you do want. But if you are so focused on the belief that you're never going to be successful, then your focus and awareness might go more towards the client who's cancelled today more than the brand new one that you brought in yesterday and the gratitude for that. Do you see how where your focus goes, energy flows? Let's talk about for a moment the reticular activating system and manifesting. So the reticular activating system is a network of neurons in the brain that are responsible for filtering information and focusing our attention on what we have deemed to be important. That is the important thing. And I use this example all the time. I never knew there was so many yellow cars in the world until my then 6-year-old, now 8-year-old, introduced me to Spotto. And now I can't unsee yellow cars. They are everywhere. But before that, they were never in my zone of awareness, ever. Okay? So if you have a belief that you're going to have a bad day, if you go to bed telling yourself how stressful your day is going to be, and you wake up ready and prepared for that stressful day, your reticular activating system is going to be filtering the information that proves your brain, that proves you to be right. You have told your brain that it is important for you to focus on a stressful day, and therefore the little things that may not have bothered you, that you may not have even noticed. Someone breathing too loud that normally you wouldn't have even noticed, but because you're having a bad and stressful day, gosh, that person next to you just wouldn't stop breathing so loud. Do you see what I mean? So the reticular activating system is going to operate based on your dominant thoughts and your beliefs. And it seeks out evidence in your environment that confirms your beliefs, and then it disregards all the other information that contradicts that. So here is why understanding your beliefs and what beliefs you are operating your day-to-day world from, whether you are growing your business, whether you are trying to, exercise more, whether you are in a personal development phase, whether you are trying to heal from something, understanding the beliefs that you have about that, which again, you can actually work through these beliefs on demand right now if you want to, in becoming limitless. But understanding these beliefs, I will just say becoming limitless is focused on, in all of the examples and everything that we do, growing a business, but you can apply those principles to any belief that you have. So when you understand that what you tell your brain to focus on in your day, which is why people say to wake up and visualize your day. Or if you do wake up and someone's left Lego next to your bed and you wake up and you tread on it and suddenly you go into a bad mood, your foot hurts and you've got the shits because you asked them to pick it up 20 times. Having that awareness, that self-awareness to stop and go, okay, you know what? This is going to actually now from my whole day. Like this is going to inform my day. Because now all of a sudden you're noticing all the other bits of Lego on the floor and you're feeling overwhelmed because it should have been picked up yesterday or the day before. And then you're feeling overwhelmed because suddenly there is far more housework to do than you realized and no one wants to help you. And then you go into your home office and the mess of the house just feels like this big heavy energy, even though it's maybe not even that messy. But you are focused on all the little things because that's what you've told your brain to focus on. Or because you got up and trod on a piece of Lego. But if you get up and you tread on that piece of Lego and you go, okay, I'm feeling angry right now, pause to process it. Maybe you breathe it out. Maybe you slam a pillow on the ground. Maybe you do some tapping. Just, I'm angry. Oh, that Lego, it hurt my foot. Go tap around the points and let that anger move through the body. Then you get to choose, how do I want to feel now? Okay, I'm going back to deciding that I'm going to have a good day. And just quickly on a healing perspective, there is a technique that I use that has been so effective with my clients, particularly ones who are struggling to come out of patterns of anxiety, struggling to come out of patterns of depression, where it is a morning interruption. And do you know what? I created this technique. I don't know if I created it. Someone's probably done it before, I'm sure. But I've used this technique, the way that I use it, when I needed it last year. There was a point last year where I was living in a freeze response for around 6 or 8 weeks or so, and I've spoken about that on previous episodes, where I suddenly realized one day, hang on a minute, if anyone can reprogram your brain, it's you. Like, you do this for a living. Why aren't you doing this for yourself? And so I had an experiment and I created these reprogramming audios. This was specific for me. And I put it in my ear before I even sat up in my bed. And not only did I interrupt the thoughts I was having, I used a couple of different techniques, some somatics, some breathing and some tapping. But then I also guided myself through what I wanted my day to be and how I wanted to feel. And before I knew it, I was walking the kids to school with those words in my head. And now you notice this and you feel this and you're doing this, and it felt effortless because I changed my perception. Instead of waking up in the morning and going, oh God, I'm anxious again. I'm still in a freeze response. My neck still hurts. This migraine is still here. I had that accident. Instead of waking up and going straight into that, and then that's what I focused on for the rest of my day, I woke up and I was like, no, I'm going to reprogram my mind. It took me around 8 weeks because, again, when you're in it, we know, us coaches and healers out there and therapists, we know that when we're in it, we're not really supposed to hold that space for ourselves. And I did obviously have outside help in that time, but I was so deep in it at that point, it was hard to see out of. And yes, once I told myself what else to look for in the morning very intentionally, everything shifted. And since then, I have been using that technique with so many clients, and we have had so many quick results. So many quick results. Such massive shifts and changes in the way they feel, in the way they operate their day, in the way they operate their business because of this. So when we focus on what we don't want, okay, we are manifesting that into our world. And you might feel really attacked by that because I understand, again, life happens and we are supposed to have various challenges and we are supposed to have various experiences. But the difference between the way two people come out of an experience is their mindset and the way that they view it. So two people might have the same challenging experience. One might be completely derailed, end up in an 8-week freeze response. Okay, there's a great example. My dad and I were in the same car accident. I went into an 8-week freeze response. I had been in a high state of stress for a long time. I had trauma from a very severe car accident. There's a whole episode on that too. I tell the story of that accident. But there were still elements of that lived in my body. I had just been at a funeral that was at the same place that I lost, that we celebrated. I don't know what the word is, where my best friend's service was. Not even a year before that. So two people coming in with a different nervous system state, with different internal experiences, different internal thoughts. I was already heightened that day. We had the same accident. I ended up in an 8-week freeze response, not able to function, not able to think clearly, and the worst chronic vestibular migraine I had ever experienced that lasted for over 8 weeks that I'm still healing from. Dad was fine. He was a little shaken in that moment, but he wasn't injured. And he got back in his car and he drove off somewhere on interstate the next day and he was fine. And so you can see how two different people with two different experiences can go through the same challenge and have very different outcomes. So life is meant to have challenges, but it is going to, how you deal with them is going to be determined on, again, your mindset, your thoughts, your beliefs, your experiences, and your nervous system state. And when you are experiencing these challenges and you move through these challenges, you then get to decide how you come out on the other side. So you can still have challenges and manifest what you want. But if you have challenges and you believe that is the only way that you are experiencing life, that is what you are going to continue to experience. If there are things happening in your life right now, be it that there are so many awful circumstances, and again, I'm not taking away from the humanness of our experience on earth. There are diseases, there are things that happen to people that we love, there are awful things, and I'm in no way putting blame anywhere around that, but I'm talking about how you show up to deal with your challenges. And oh gosh, you see that fly? I'm in Canberra and there are just flies everywhere at the moment. Totally off topic, but this is how you show up to deal with your challenges. And If there is something happening in your world right now that you are not happy with, that is repeated for you, that is not feeling good, then I really invite you to look at what you are focusing on, what beliefs are fueling these perceptions, and then what is within you that you can control, which again is how you deal with some of the hard, challenging things that are thrown at you. But if your focus is going to be on the negative outcomes, if your focus, as I said before, if you had a client cancel today and that gets you down, but you've got beliefs in there around your capability to run a business or to make money from your business or around being qualified enough or whatever your beliefs are, then that client canceling is going to have a bigger impact on you than maybe someone who's worked through beliefs like that or doesn't have them. And if your focus is on that negative, and then maybe your computer crashes or maybe something happens or you forgot to send an email or your VA made a mistake, and you are just focused on all of these negative things that are happening and it's fueling this story, you aren't expecting anything different. Again, if you wake up and say, today's going to be a stressful day, it's going to be a bad day, you are not telling your brain to expect anything different. And it is not going to see the good. Because of all of the billions of bits of information that your brain takes in, it has to filter through what is important. It has to filter through what is important to you. And you tell it what is important by your thoughts. So I'm going to have a bad day. It's a stressful day. Okay, there we go. What are we going to notice today that's going to prove that to be right? So be really conscious and have a look at your world as a mirror and as an invitation. What are you bringing into your world? What are you manifesting? Are you manifesting the things that you don't want as well? And how can you deal with that? So perhaps you can come to some tapping circles and release some of those emotions. Perhaps we could work one-on-one together and deal with the emotional trauma or the emotional challenges that are living in your body. Perhaps you need that support in your business and you're ready to up level. Start with becoming limitless. Have your one-on-one call with me and then let's chat about if there's a way to help you get more support moving forward. And that call, by the way, is an actual session. I will show up with all my tools to meet you where you're at. Again, for just $35. So there are ways to move forward. You don't have to stay stuck like this. If you are manifesting what you don't want into your life, then it's time to stop that. And maybe for you, just having that into your awareness is enough to make the changes. But again, maybe you need some support. And if that is you, then let's chat. I offer a complimentary phone call. We can just discuss what's going on for you and the best pathway forward. So I want to hear your manifesting stories. If you have manifested, if you have just realized, oh my God, I am so focused on what I don't want and I'm manifesting more of what I don't want into my life. If you have just had that aha moment, you need to come onto Instagram and tell me. I need to know these things. Remember the ripple effect that we talked about the other week? Knowing how our work is impacting others, you need to tell me. So come onto Instagram and share that with me. And if you have a manifesting story, I want to hear it. I genuinely love hearing these. So come and share that with me as well. It's jessica.reed.ilc over on Instagram. And tell me, have you had an aha moment? Are you manifesting what you don't want? When have you manifested what you do want? And we can have a chat. I can give you some tips. All right. Have the most amazing day. I so appreciate your ears, your energy. I appreciate you being here to listen to yet another episode of Alive and Thriving. Don't forget to leave a review and subscribe because that is how podcasts like mine reach more people, more of the right people, so that ripple effect can continue. All right, have an amazing day. Happy manifesting.
Wow, what a journey it's been today. We are so grateful for each and every one of you who tuned in to Alive and Thriving. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep growing, please consider subscribing and leaving a review on your favorite platform. It's a simple but powerful way to support a small business like ours to continue to make an impact.